Planning a trip to Disney World can feel a little chaotic when it comes to understanding lightning lanes, transportation, resort types. It can be a lot. I'm going to walk you through exactly each step that you need to take to plan your vacation, so hopefully you can actually start to enjoy it and feel a little bit less. Hi, I'm Haley. I'm a travel advisor who specializes in Walt Disney World vacation destinations, and I help families plan trips that are actually magical instead of feeling stressful. And if you want to follow along step by step, I have made a checklist for you. You can find it linked down below, or there's a QR code that you can scan over here, and it is completely complimentary, free for you to use, so make sure that you check that out and then you can follow along. So make sure you have that checklist down. Grab a drink, grab a snack, maybe a pen, maybe a notebook, and let's dive into it. I am breaking this down into 8 simple steps that you can follow. Now, this is going to cover you from picking a day all the way to what you should do the night before, so let's go ahead and dive in. First and foremost, you need to decide when you want to go. Now, all the time people are asking, when is the perfect time to go to Disney? When is an awful time to go to Disney? And the reality is, the perfect time to go to Disney is when you are able to go to Disney. Please, 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 please do not think that just because you have to go during a busy time that you're not gonna have a good time. That is a very common misconception that people have when it comes to Disney. And little hot take right here, we're gonna pause. We're gonna take some deep breaths because I know this can all be stressful, but your Disney vacation is not going to be ruined unless you say it is ruined. The amount of times that I see people on Facebook saying, oh my goodness, my vacation is ruined because of X, Y, and Z, that is so disheartening because you're the one that decides if you're having a good time, if your vacation is ruined, or if you're just gonna roll with the punches. And you can always figure something out if it doesn't go the way as planned. And this is coming from someone who is a type A planner, and I have my little checklist, and if I have to pivot, it's gonna take me some time to get myself together. But the great thing is you're at Disney World, so it doesn't matter what goes as planned, what doesn't go as planned. You can make the decision to have a good time. So please just put that in the back of your mind and keep that with you while you're planning, while you're about to go, and while you're at Disney. You can have a fantastic time no matter what happens. It's all about the choices you make. So when it comes to deciding when is a good time to go, there are 3 things that you're gonna want to kind of decide if they are important to you or not, and could greatly impact when you go. Now, this is considering if you are not in a time crunch and like there's only 1 week in the entire year that you can go. If that's the case, then just go during the week that you can go. But the 3 things that you want to consider, first of all, is going to be crowd levels. If you are a person who is not big on crowds, you are going to want to try to avoid going during the busiest times of year. So this includes pretty much any time that school's out and kids are on break, which as a full-time teacher, that can be the only time I can go. So if you're in that situation, there just might be some options that might be better than others. But if you're not a big crowd person and you can avoid those school breaks, you're gonna want to do this. The most busiest time, the most crowded time is going to be during the Christmas/New Year's season. So this is going to start like the week before Christmas all the way into the week after New Year's Day and New Year's Eve. Christmas and New Year's Eve are going to be some of the busiest times. Other times that you might want to avoid would be Thanksgiving break, Halloween, like the day of Halloween. This also includes those like 3-day weekends, like Martin Luther King Jr. weekend, President's Day weekend, Labor Day, and Memorial Day, as well as 4th of July. The other thing that you're going to want to consider is spring break, because that is another popular time to go. Spring break is more of like a season as opposed to just 1 week, because you're going to have everybody all across the board who are on different spring breaks. Spring break season typically starts about mid to late March, and it's going to go until late April, beginning of May. Typically, once you hit May, the crowds do start to thin out just because spring break is over with and we haven't quite hit the end of school. Other than that, summertime is going to be a very popular time because everybody's out of school. Second thing you're gonna wanna consider is the weather, especially if you are more sensitive to certain types of weather. It's Florida, it's gonna be hot, it's gonna be humid. So just know that going into it, even if you're going in December, it could still be very hot. And you're gonna wanna pack shorts and a t-shirt, or you're gonna have to do an Amazon order because you think it's not going to be so bad, but it is. Just know it's mainly going to be hot and humid. There are going to be some chillier times. So if you are going during like late fall in the winter time, think about like October to January, February, then you might experience a huge influx in weather. It could start out in the morning really chilly, and then it's going to be hot, 80, 90 degrees. And then once the sun goes down, it's cold again. So this is where you're going to want to pack in layers and just be prepared for that type of weather. And then the third thing that you're gonna wanna consider are events. Either if you want to avoid events or if you wanna be there for events. There are a lot of things that happen at Disney World, and this can really help you figure out when a good time for you to go is. There's typically always going to be some sort of event around holiday season. 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas time, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and sometimes Valentine's Day. Those are popular times for your holiday events. And then you also have, if you're looking at Epcot, there are going to be different festivals that happen. There is typically a festival that goes on at just about all points of the year. There are some weeks that are going to be downtime. I think this past summer they did have like a month or so without a festival. That's a more newer change, so we're going to see if they continue that. But typically there just might be like 1 or 2 weeks that you don't have a festival. But if you're interested in trying out different cultures and food and all of that, then you're gonna wanna make sure that you do go during a festival time. The bottom line is there is no perfect time to go to Disney. The perfect time to go to Disney is what works best for you and your travel party. We have just hit the most awkward, potentially, point of planning, and that's your budget. So you are going to have to set your budget, and it's important to plan within your means, but also be realistic. Are we going to Disney for $400 for a family of 6? That also includes our hotel accommodations, flights, and yeah, we want to be there for 7 days? No, not gonna happen. There are going to be options that are more affordable if you are looking for that, and there's also going to be things on the other end that's a little bit more luxurious if that is what you are looking for. We do have price points, but we still want to be kind of logical about some things. You're going to be spending a few grand if you are going to Disney. There are going to be 4 things that are going to determine your budget that are going to be your big heavy spenders. First and foremost is going to be your resort. If you're staying on property or if you're staying off property. We can get into this in another video. Just know that staying off property may not always be the most affordable option for you, because there are going to be other things that you have to consider if you are staying off property that you don't get perks of, compared to if you're staying on property, and vice versa. So your resort and your ticket, those are going to be your 2 probably biggest chunks of your Disney budget. Third is going to be food. This is a lot more flexible. You can do online grocery orders and you can eat at your room or bring food into the parks. You can eat everything at the parks. You can do a mix of both, but you do need to consider how much you want to spend on food in your budget. And then last is going to be extras. This is your most flexible category. Because they're extras, you don't have to have them to have a magical vacation. They're just going to make things a little bit more convenient, maybe a little bit more magical, but in the end, they're extra, so you can include them or you don't have to. I would say if you are a family of 4, so we are looking at 2 adults and 2 kids that are going to be in the 3 to 9-year-old range, then you could probably do Disney for 2 to 3 grand. That would be a shorter trip, about maybe 4 days, staying at an all-star resort with a 1-day per park ticket. That price is going to obviously go down if you have less people or if your kids are under 3, but it's also going to go up if you have more people or if you have kids that are 10 years or older, because 10-year-olds are considered adults when it comes to pricing. Price also fluctuates when you go. If you are going during those off seasons, aka not during a school break, school is in session, then you're gonna have a little bit more affordable rates. But if you're going during like Christmas, summertime, you're gonna have a little bit higher cost. So you're just gonna have to keep those in mind when it comes to a budget. Step 3 is gonna be choosing your resort. I will have some resort breakdowns on my channel, so make sure that you check those out. But just as a crash course, it is important to know that there are 3 Disney categories. They have the value resorts, moderate resorts, and the deluxe resorts. Now, I like to say there is no wrong choice when it comes to a Disney resort, because you are going to get that same Disney hospitality. It doesn't matter if you were in the cheapest value resort room compared to the most expensive deluxe resort room, you are still going to get the Disney hospitality. People have their preferences and that's totally fine. So you're just gonna have to pick what works best for you. For your value resorts, there are currently 5 value resorts. The All-Stars, which are going to be your cheapest, those are going to be All-Star Sports, All-Star Music, and All-Star Movies. These are in the Animal Kingdom resort area, so that means that you are close to Animal Kingdom. However, you are furthest from all the other resorts, and your All-Star resorts are going to have all transportation that is through the buses. They have a little bit longer travel time from the parks. You do have the smallest rooms and there are less food options. They have more of like a food court option and there's no like sit down or other dining option. However, the value resorts do have what we like to call larger than life Disney theming. They are going to have giant character statues and you're really going to feel that Disney magic while you're staying at the All-Star resorts. The other 2 resorts are going to be on the Skyline, which is a huge benefit because you get quick Skyliner access to Epcot and Hollywood Studios. These 2 resorts are Disney's Pop Century Resort and Disney's Art of Animation. Now, Pop Century is going to be on the smaller end compared to Art of Animation. Art of Animation is mainly going to consist of family suites, so you can sleep up to 6 adults. There's 2 bathrooms, which is a little bit nicer. However, they are a little bit more expensive. Then your Pop Century are going to be like your standard resort rooms. There's no family suites or anything like that. However, both of these are going to give you access to the Skyliner for Hollywood Studios and Epcot, and then you would have bus transportation to Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. These are going to be your most affordable options if you do want that Skyliner access. The second category is going to be moderate, which is going to be your mid-level resorts. They're more affordable compared to the deluxe. However, they're a little bit more expensive than the All-Stars, but you do get more accommodation. The moderate resorts consist of Port Orleans French Quarter, Port Orleans Riverside, Disney's Coronado Springs, and Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort. Now, Caribbean Beach Resort is also on the Skyliner, so you do get Skyliner access to Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and then bus access to Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom. Also, if you stay at Caribbean Beach, you can just walk on over to the Riviera. There's actually some rooms that are going to be right next to the Riviera, so it's actually closer to go there than the Caribbean Beach Resort, but we can get into that in a whole nother video. Port Orleans French Quarter and Port Orleans Riverside. These are sister resorts, so they are right next to each other and they are absolutely beautiful. I will say Port Orleans French Quarter is one of Disney's smallest resorts, whereas Port Orleans Riverside is actually one of their largest resorts. I do love both of them. I have a special place in my heart, especially for Riverside, because that is where I got engaged. So, just a side note, if you're looking for an engagement, do it in front of the lit up fountain in Port Orleans Riverside. Both of these resorts are going to include a little bit more variety when it comes to food. So Port Orleans French Quarter has their food court area, and then they do have Scat Cat Lounge, which has beignets, which are absolutely delicious. Even if you don't stay here, you can come grab some beignets. 10 out of 10 recommend. And then Port Orleans Riverside is going to have not only their food court, but they also have boat ride, which is going to be a sit-down restaurant. Now, while both of these resorts do have all bus transportation to all 4 themes parks, it does have boat transportation to Disney Springs, which is really nice because you can just hop on the boat and you kind of go through like a back entrance to Disney Springs. And then Disney's Coronado Springs, this is actually going to be like their most luxurious moderate because it is a like convention center, so there's a lot of like business conventions that go on there. So you're gonna see a lot of fancy people, but it does have a lot of nicer amenities when compared to a moderate resort. Like one thing that has a gym if you're into working out. Those are normally with the deluxe resorts, however you get one at Coronado Springs. They also have a club level at Coronado Springs, so you can get club level for significantly cheaper compared to the deluxe resorts. And there are quite a few dining options, including like a rooftop lounge and a few other more sit-down restaurants. And then last but not least is going to be your deluxe resorts. This actually has the most deluxe resorts. For the deluxe resorts, you're going to look at a more luxurious price tag, if we do say so, but you are going to have a lot of amenities. This includes numerous dining options. You're gonna have multiple modes of transportation, as well as like fitness center, club level, and most of these are going to be pretty close to one park or another, with a lot of them being within walking distance. So with the deluxe resorts, you're going to get bigger rooms, especially if you get a DVC room. You might have maybe a kitchenette, a full-on coffee machine, a full-on fridge, something like that, but they're gonna have a little bit more amenities there. The Magic Kingdom Deluxe Resorts, which means that you're going to be either within walking, monorail, or boat distance to Disney's Magic Kingdom. This includes on the monorail loop, the Contemporary, the Grand Floridian, and the Polynesian. All of these, you can take the monorail to Magic Kingdom. Some of them have a walking path, and you can also use that monorail to then go to Epcot. The other deluxe resort that is near Magic Kingdom, this is not on the monorail loop, but you can take a boat, is going to be Disney's Fort Wilderness Lodge and then the campgrounds there. The Epcot Deluxe Resort, all of these are going to be within walking distance. You can also take a boat to them, but these are going to be Disney's Beach Club, Disney's Yacht Club, and then Disney's Boardwalk. Also means that you're going to have not only Skyliner access to, but boat access to, and you can even walk to Hollywood Studios. One deluxe resort that is on the Skyliner is going to be Disney's Riviera Resort. This will also give you Skyline access to Epcot and to Hollywood Studios. Then you have Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, which while you can't walk to Animal Kingdom, there is an on-site savannah there. So you can literally wake up with giraffes outside of your rooms. You do have two deluxe resorts that are Disney Springs. These are Saratoga Springs and Old Key West. These are going to have full bus service to all of the Disney parks, but you do get either walking distance or boat service to Disney Springs. Well, in addition to price tag, you're going to want to have to figure out what is a priority for you. Is that going to be price tag? Is it going to be space? Is it going to be proximity to the park, transportation options, etc.? Because I'm just going to say, if you do have smaller kids and you're going to be using strollers, getting on the bus, you do have to break down the stroller every single time. However, you don't have to break down the stroller if you're going to the Skyliner, monorail, or obviously if you are walking. If you are just looking for that true Disney magic, then you're gonna wanna look at those value resorts. I will say just my quick round recommendations for value resorts. I'm a big Pop Century fan. For your moderate resorts, I personally love Port Orleans French Quarter. You can't really go wrong with French Quarter or Riverside, but I do like the more intimate, smaller setting of French Quarter. And then so far, my favorite deluxe resort is going to be Disney's Beach Club Resort. You can walk right to Epcot. It has one of the best pools. It's calming, it's relaxing, and the lobby smells fantastic. And it is home of Beaches and Cream, where you get some of the best ice cream. And what does this mean for you and your Disney vacation? Value resorts is a fantastic budget-friendly option. However, you're going to be looking at more transportation time or less transportation options. If you are looking at a deluxe resort, it's going to be convenience and location, which is fantastic. However, it's going to come with that heftier price tag. And then you have your moderate, which is kind of like the best of both in a way. However, some of the moderates are actually fairly large and there's a humongous bus loop. So that just kind of eats into your time. Step 4 is going to be picking out your park ticket type. So when it comes to park tickets, there are two main types that you can get. You can either get a 1 park per day ticket, which means that you can only visit 1 Disney park per day, or you can get a park hopper ticket, which will allow you to visit any of the 4 Disney parks in 1 day. Obviously, the park hopper ticket is going to be a little bit more. Also, some of the promotions that Disney runs, you do actually have to have like a 4-day or more park hopper ticket. You got to pick what's best for you. If this is your first trip, I do recommend just doing the 1 park per day ticket and being able to explore all 4 Disney parks in their entirety. And I say that very loosely because you can't explore them in their entirety in 1 day. But this is going to give you the time that you need to really be able to sit and enjoy and experience 1 Disney park at a time. If you are park hopping, you're gonna miss something, you're gonna feel rushed, and you don't really get that true park experience. I do recommend the park hopper ticket for those who have maybe gone to Disney before, or if you just like that flexibility, like you wanna be able to spend your day at Magic Kingdom, but you wanna be able to go and have a dining reservation at Epcot, that will give you that flexibility to do that. I always recommend, if you are going to Disney for the first time, that you have a 4 to 5 day stay and that you spend 1 day at each park. Which brings us to number 5. This is when you're going to decide what your budget is, when you're going, what type of resort you want to stay at, and what ticket you're going to want. Now you actually get to book it, which is the fun part because that makes things just a little bit more real. When should you book? The answer is going to be ASAP because Disney prices change all the time, and most of the time it's not going to work in your favor. The best thing about Disney vacations is if you are booking a Disney vacation package, so this includes a Disney resort room and tickets, then all you have to do to secure your spot, lock in your pricing, is put down a $200 deposit. Once you do this, you have until up to 30 days before your check-in day to pay off your Disney vacation. So this means that you can pay if you want to make weekly payments, monthly payments, bi-monthly payments, or if you just want to wait until the day before that 30-day mark and pay it all, you have the flexibility to do that. And the best part is you have that price locked in. If any promotion pops up that is a better deal, you can always get that applied. And this is where we're going to take a little pause. If you work with a travel agent, they are going to keep an eye on those promotions, and then they can apply them and you do not have to do the work. That is what I do for my clients. Whenever I get the email from Disney that this promotion is going to be released, I will check and see what is included in it, and then I will look at my clients who currently have packages booked, and I will see if those can be applicable to their vacation package. And most of the time it can save them hundreds of dollars, and they didn't have to do anything except for just work with me. If you don't work with a travel agent, that's totally fine. However, you might miss out on some deals, or you have to be on the phone with Disney to apply that promotion, and it can just save you some time. So why not just do that? Why does booking early matter for you and your Disney vacation? So I'm going to give you an example of why the early bird gets the worm. Disney likes their money, and they do a price increase typically once a year. And then they will normally start releasing different promotions, and you can always apply promotions to your package like we talked about to save you money. This was one situation that I ran into with a client. They booked a little over a year before their vacation, and then Disney released all of these summer promotions, and great, let me see what I can do. So there was like a free kids ticket, there were like room discounts, free dining, all of this stuff. And I went through and I applied every single promotion I could to my client's package. Every time I would go to apply a new promotion, their price would go up for a 30% off room discount. So I figured I was doing something wrong. I called Disney and I was talking to a cast member, and I'm like, I'm trying to apply these promotions, but either it says it's not available or they end up owing money. What am I doing wrong? And the cast member was so sweet. She's like, let me look into this. And she goes, oh, when did you book this? And I told her, and she goes, there's your answer. And I was like, what is my answer? And she told me that actually my client had the absolute best price that they could get because we had booked so early. What we booked in, I want to say it was like June or July of the previous year. Well, Disney had upped their prices in October of the year that we booked. So all of these promotions were to bring that October price down. But even with the promotions, that cheapest option was still significantly more than what my clients booked in June the previous year. So their price that they got locked in was cheaper than anything Disney could offer them at that moment, even with promotions, which is crazy. So early bird gets the worm. You're gonna wanna book as early as possible. Just know that you can make payments, you can apply promotions when they come up if they apply to your situation. And this also gives you flexibility because if you need to change dates or anything like that, you have the time to do that. You can change anything in your vacation up to 30 days before your trip without any sort of penalty or losing any money. It gives you flexibility, and you can always cancel if you absolutely have to, and as long as you do so before that 30-day mark, you can get your deposit back. So it's really no harm in doing it except for just setting yourself up for more success and potentially more money in your pocket. Step 6 is to make your gameplay for each park. You're gonna wanna figure out what you wanna prioritize, where you wanna go, and when, and kind of set up a basic strategy. First thing is you're going to want to prioritize rides. Get your phone out, download the My Disney Experience app, and look at all of the rides that you have available to you. And I would say pick your top 3 rides to make a priority. That way, if you get those done, great, and then anything else is going to be bonus. if you want to ride every single ride in Disney, you are setting yourself up for potentially being disappointed because it might be really hard to get all of that accomplished in just one day. Prioritize your top 2, top 3, and then really focus on getting those done. That way, once you get those done out of the way, anything else is going to be a bonus. The second part of coming up with your basic strategy is to know what you do best as a person and as a travel party. If you are fine with getting up early before the birds and the sun do, then you're gonna wanna do a rope drop strategy, which is basically meaning that you're going to get there right when the parks are open and you can knock out a lot of rides. However, if you know that waking up at 6 a.m. every morning to go to a park is going to cause some people to be very grumpy and very unhappy, don't do that to yourself, because then we don't wanna all be miserable. So don't do that. If you're a slow morning kind of person, totally fine. Be a slow morning person. This might be something where a deluxe resort might actually work better in your favor because you get extended evening hours. So if you're not a morning person, but you're a night owl, then taking advantage of those hours at like midnight might be your thing. Or you might want to look into an after hours party or something like that. Well, kind of figure out, all right, do we want to be up and at 'em early in the morning, or are we more midday to late night people? Because there's definitely a strategy for all kinds of travel groups. Step 7 is learn your lightning lanes. So lightning lanes is going to be Disney's paid to skip the line service. And I say skip the line very lightly because you are not guaranteed to just be able to skip the line. You might have to wait a little bit. Basically, the promise here is that you do not have to wait as long in the standby line. Again, get on your My Disney Experience app, get that downloaded, get yourself familiarized with it. And that is basically what you would do is you would pay for the Lightning Lane service. You can do either multi-pass, single pass, or premier pass. And then you would be booking a time to go visit a ride, and then you scan in and you get to skip the standby 85-minute line. You do not have to pay money to do Lightning Lane. A lot of people freak out about that. You do have the option to stand in the standby line. It is just basically going to be, what is a priority for you? If you want to ride rides, are you okay with standing in line for 45 minutes to an hour and a half, or would you like to just be able to skip those? So what is it worth to you? That is a way to determine if Lightning Lane is going to be a good choice for you and your travel party. With Lightning Lane, single pass and multi-pass, as well as premier pass, if you are staying on property at a Walt Disney World resort, you can purchase these 7 days before your arrival day. Now, if you are not staying on property, then you can purchase these up to 3 days before your first park day. And that is one of the perks of being able to stay on Disney property. And when it comes to Lightning Lanes, it really sounds complicated, but once you get the hang of it, it's really not. You can choose to be on your phone all day editing your Lightning Lanes, or you can just kind of set it and let it go. But it becomes way more manageable once you become familiar with that My Disney Experience app and you kind of play around with it. Step 8 is dining. So figure out what you want to do for dining. Now, you can do grocery deliveries. You can go visit Target or Walmart or Publix or whatever it might be, and you can go buy groceries or have groceries delivered to your resort. You do not have to give Disney all your money and use all of their dining options. So you can eat at your resort room, you can bring food into the parks, or you can purchase food at the food courts in your resort or at the parks. Now, Disney has 2 types of dining services. They have their quick service, which is going to be like your fast food option. You go to a counter, you order your food, and then you take your food and you find somewhere to sit and you eat it. Or they have table service, which is going to be your more fine dining experiences. You're gonna have a sit-down table, a waiter is going to come, or it might be a buffet or family style or something like that, and those are going to be a little bit more pricier. If you are choosing to do a table service, then you are going to need to make a dining reservation if you want to guarantee a spot there. Dining reservations, especially for those popular spots, do fill up very quickly. There's always a chance for maybe a less popular option, or if someone cancels or something, that dining reservations pop up day of, day before. However, I would not recommend taking that chance if it is a top priority for you to experience this dining experience. The most important thing for you to keep in mind is that you are going to want to book your dining experience. You are doing a sit-down restaurant 60 days before your arrival day. You can get on at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and make your reservation. This is also another plugin for travel agents. If you're working with a travel agent, then they're gonna do this all for you. I find this extremely beneficial for my clients who are not in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. I'm from Ohio, so I am on the same time as Florida. But when I have clients who are an hour or 3 hours behind, that means that they're gonna have to wake up at like 3 a.m. their time to make a 6 a.m. Florida time dining reservation, and that's not fun. So working with a travel agent is one thing that you can do to kind of take this off your plate. You don't have to worry about it. We're not too bad at getting those hard to get reservations. Working with a travel agent is definitely going to help with that, unless you just like waking up early at 6 a.m. to make dining reservations, then go for it. I would suggest doing a balance of quick service and table service, because table services are a lot of food and they cost a lot of money. A lot of now are buffets or family styles, and they're unlimited, so you are just getting plates and plates and plates of food just thrown at you, and they're heavy, especially if it's like, 100 degrees in Florida. You don't want to be walking around and going to a table service every single meal. They are going to take a little bit more time, especially if you are doing a character dining, so where the characters are coming to your table and they're greeting you and interacting with you, and you can take pictures and get autographs. That's going to take some time. So like dining experiences could take maybe 45 minutes if you're a quick eater, but like hour and a half. So you kind of want to figure out, do you want that time eating up your park day? And a lot of dining experiences are inside the parks, and yes, you do need a valid park ticket to be able to go to that park and eat at that dining experience. And then our little bonus step 9 is your final prep before your trip. When you're packing, make sure that you have everything that you need, especially like medication, prescriptions, things that like you can't just easily go run to Target and replace. You also want to check all of your reservations. So your lightning lane reservations, your dining reservations, your resort reservations, all of that. I do strongly suggest either printing out a copy of like dining and resort reservations, or at least having the screenshot of the email. You can pull up your reservations on your My Disney Experience app, but just know that every once in a while there might be a glitch, and it has happened before where reservations have not shown up on the app when it comes time to actually go to that place. This is where you're going to want to make sure you have emails, because Disney will send you emails with your confirmation. Take screenshots. So if you do something on the My Disney Experience app, like book a lightning lane, take a screenshot of that time, because if something does go wrong, it is a lot easier to go to a cast member and be able to show them, hey, I had this reservation, it's not showing up. And if they see that, then they're more than likely going to honor it. So make sure that you have double checked all your reservations, and that you either have like a paper copy or you at least have a screenshot, just in case they magically disappear. You don't have to worry about like Wi-Fi loading and finding the email or anything like that. And last, you want to make sure that your My Disney Experience app is set up for everyone in your travel party. So this means that not only do you have an account, you have looked through everything, your ticket is linked, your resort is linked, your lightning lanes are linked, all of that stuff. You do want to make sure that it is set up and ready to go before you actually head out. And I will have a My Disney Experience app guide coming up, so make sure that you look out for that. There you have it. You now have your 9 steps for planning your Walt Disney World vacation to make it a little bit more stress-free and a little bit more enjoyable for you. And just know, once you break it down, it becomes a lot more manageable. Disney is something that is a lot to take in, especially for beginners, but you can do it. You just gotta take it step by step in little chunks. If you want help planning your next magical vacation, I would be more than happy to work with you. I have a link below. I have a QR code here. You can check out all my social media, and we can work together to make your vacation a lot more magical and a lot less stressful. I would love to help you out. Check the description box down below. Please make sure that you like and subscribe, and you check out all my socials so you can keep up on the latest Disney magic, as well as getting insider tips and tricks. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.